Hey guys, today I'm going to reacting to Simon the Digger versus Kyle Rayner, Gurren Lagann versus White Lantern. Death Battle. And this video is by Death Battle, and if anyone watching has not seen this video yet, please pause the video and click the link now so you can watch the original video before watching my reaction. Do so really helps out the original content creator of this video. I do want to give my thoughts on who will probably win. Unfortunately, I do think probably White Lantern will win, because as far as I know, the White Lanterns are by far the strongest version of the Green Lanterns. So, unfortunately, I don't think Simon will win, and I will be rooting for Simon during this fight. Anyway, let's get to the reaction now. Let's start this reaction now.
Simon the Digger, Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern.
Yeah.
Two men born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity. He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick. And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle. Deep
To be completely honest, it has been years since I've seen Gurren Lagann.
That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty. Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simon. He was there too, I guess. Simon was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt. Until the day he...
Oh, and my apologies for saying his right name wrong, guys. saying Simon instead of Simon. For fuck's sake. I cannot read today.
The core drill. A key that activated the mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark. But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren. And as befits Kamina and Simon's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann. With Kamina piloting the body and Simon the head, these two were unstoppable. Of all the giant fighting robots in all the enemies across history,
Although I am questioning why you're having him go against a
fueled by its pilot's
White Lantern, though.
Because,
including
missiles, a jetpack, a sunglasses
Guys,
boomerang.
really, this versus does not make any sense. I mean, really, you should maybe have them up against a team that uses their own mech, like Power Rangers, or any of the Gundams.
And of course,
from any of the Gundam series. Would probably make more sense, though. I don't know why you're having them go against White Lantern.
Side note, it is so funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality. With Gurren Lagann's awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome. Until Kamina died. Oh, wait. Shit, was that supposed to happen? Nope, and it was all Simon's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit. So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simon who believes in you. Damn. Kamina was the one looking up to him the whole time. It was Simon who found Lagann, Simon who pierced the surface, and Simon who would now lead humanity to victory. Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kicked Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked. Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential.
Why the creepy moon?
dubbed the Spiral Nemesis. Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit? Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah. Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential. Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy. Channeling spiral power lets you constantly adapt to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simon can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Creating the
Damn.
Gurren Lagann, which is strong enough to shatter space and time with Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all-time space and dimensions.
Holy shit, that's broken.
That's the smallest unit of time physically possible. Meaning each laser would have to be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster than light.
I take it back. This fight may be closer than I thought.
Oh, well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history. Congratulations, Gurren Lagann. Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned. Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You literally cannot calculate how fast that is. But it wasn't enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap, the multiverse labyrinth. An attack that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world. Except Simon and his spiral power are just built different, and after being inspired by his bro, Simon absorbed that whole multiverse to escape. What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional, meaning Simon absorbed a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope. What? Oh, we're just getting started. Imagine a two-dimensional drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person. Okay. That's not too far off from what actually happened. Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real, adding another to the mix. Wait, if every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit? This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann. This is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy. Like,
as if it was not crazy enough being 11-dimensional. Jeez.
Or tossing galaxies around like frisbees. Sorry, did I say galaxies? I meant universes. Simon's power
He's like
so
throwing
immense that he
universes,
started generating
shit.
super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe. With it, Simon turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place. Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence. Like when Lord Genome used spiral power to survive quantum breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight. Information in physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction. If I have spiral power, whiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back? When even this is not enough for the anti-spiral, Simon evolved one more time into Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann! This mech is so big, its size is literally incalculable.
Are you sure it's even a mech?
Somehow even larger than that.
Because it looks like it's made out of nothing but energy.
Spiral once and for all. Hey, cruel indifference of the universe. Meet the indomitable human spirit. Proving Kamina's words prophetic, that Simon's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens. With no more worlds left left to conquer, Simon chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up. For all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another
Oh,
one
yeah,
of
that's
his fellow
the-
cousins that can live free.
Oh, thanks to
One
a
thing I
humble
do remember
digger.
about the final episode, he was very old at the end.
The universe is a dangerous place. Should you find yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps. They're the Space Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You know him, you love him, you might hate him, but you gotta respect the man with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his
Well, that'd be your own
After
fault.
his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged.
Because
through the core,
when you
killing
had
everyone in
Hell
his
fight
path, and
Ben
absorbed
10,
the
yeah,
central
yeah,
power
you didn't
battery.
even include any of Ben 10's
Green
really
Lantern.
overpowered and
Emerald
broken
tyrant, Parallax.
aliens.
There was only
Like
one
Alien X.
survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So, was Kyle picked for his indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own.
Really?
Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Wheat, and a sentient box can master it. What's your excuse, Kyle?
The Green Lantern ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well, consider the time Kyle
Okay,
switched the
that are
very fabric
erasing things from existence is something new I never knew about the Green Lantern ring.
of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over.
And this is only the Green Lantern. They didn't even get on about the White Lantern yet.
Letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an
But
artificial
then again, that
intelligence
erasure
operates
thing
just as fast, automatically protecting
probably
its user from
won't
danger.
affect the
time
battle
that
too much.
Boozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited
As
only by their
Simone
imagination.
can really will himself back into existence.
Probably because he's a comic book artist.
Probably.
And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
But the Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs, Kyle's speciality.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers, and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them strong enough to
Oh,
lift the
nice.
spectrum in ways
See
as
why
much
they're
as
using him. Okay.
Or hold back a 12.3.
And know about him creating giant fighting robots.
DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
So it can blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone. Never mind, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power came no responsibility.
Perhaps a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized. This moment was so infamous.
Oh
it
yeah,
started a
that
trope
caused a
called
big
fridging.
controversy.
For how female characters are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it might surprise you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy, it's a long story, he had to master
Emotional
all the
lobotomy-
codes of
wait,
the
what?
emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
There are 7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice, possessing Kyle to absorb not merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with Napalm, which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light is powered by hope and allows Kyle to heal wounds, resist mental domination, and supercharge his ring.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's will to fight and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the Sapphire Light of Love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern with total control over the power of life.
Wiz, I cannot think of an attack more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse.
Well,
Kyle
actually,
is
that can
powerful
kind of
than
help
any
him
other
come
lantern
back to
in
life,
existence.
probably.
Far stronger than
It would
hell.
come in handy,
Could harness
probably.
the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the life equation. Essentially the source code to reality. The
life
is mathematical
equation.
proof that life is worth living.
With it, Kyle
It's sort of the opposite set of dark sides on the anti-life equation.
Is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns. And together, they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings. Hey, remember Beerus vs. Sailor Galaxia? No? Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too anime. But we've got a solution. It's our own website. That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon, with a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive. It's got
that's
episodes that
neat.
YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way. So check out deathbattle.gg live right now.
Well, I guess that is a solution, because YouTube can be
All right, the
quite
combatants are
restrictive.
set. We've run the data through all possibilities.
It's time for a death battle!
Because otherwise, I'd be way more raunchier in my videos than I am.
All right, I'm not rusty at all.
Hey dude, Green Lantern Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Gurren Lagann's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are? I'm told I'm bad with authority.
Tell me about it.
Yep.
Four?
Literally playing golf. Ow. Now, he ain't doing very well.
Nothing! My throat will pierce the heavens! Take it to Gurren Lagann!
Yeah. Oh. Wait a minute, was that sort of a construct of Superman?
I'm Simone the Digger. If there's a wall in my way, I'll smash it down!
Yep. I just have to say it. He had surprise Buzz said with Smoke's drill.
Stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that believes in you.
Going full power. Not that he really needed to. He was winning this fight so far. He didn't really need to transform yet. Oh, so he brought out his own drill. Simone, win.
The super weapon wasn't your mech. It was me. Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern fly!
Let's see you grit those teeth!
Hey, won.
You'd make a good lantern.
Simone of Earth, you have been chosen.
That's awesome.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
KO!
That's awesome. Yeah! Simone won. Awesome.
Possessed unlimited power, it's hard to judge
Yes.
them by our normal standards. Take speed. Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead, let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
First up, imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles, but it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
And remember, each numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simone's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to close the gap with Kyle. especially since Spiral Power also lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level. Kyle's never destroyed something that thoroughly before.
Without the ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge. Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the Labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Too bad Kyle couldn't control it. It was just as much a detriment to him as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using Spiral Power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway? That's Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to Death Battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Next time on Death Battle.
What's next? Roadrunner? Tom and Jerry?
Subscribe and
Oh,
join
Wile
us
E.
for
Coyote
See More
versus
Death
Tom
Battle.
the Cat.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, that's awesome. And the video ended there, guys. And as for what I thought, that was a really good fight. That was awesome. I really enjoyed that. That was great. Anyway, that's it for action. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you next time.